up, Wrestle Geeks? This is Big Mike here at the Rock and Wrestling event here at the Wonderland Malls of America in San Antonio. And as you can see with me, I have a man who requires no introduction, but I'm going to do one anyway because he is so awesome. He is buff, he's the stuff, and ladies could never get enough. It is Buff Daddy himself, Buff Bagwell. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. I love anytime I get a chance to share a little bit with somebody, and you guys seem really nice and everything. And I love talking about the business, every side of it. So let's
appreciate
do
it. Yeah. So right off the bat, you were involved and a big player in one of the biggest wrestling stories, wrestling groups, NWO. Kicked off the Monday Night Wars, really changed wrestling at that time into what it kind of became today. What was that like being in the middle of that? Just all the craziness, all the stuff that was going on at that time.
Unexplainable, man. Just more like just really trying to think of like every dream that you would want to come true for you as a pro wrestler came true when I got into the NWO. I mean, it was everything you wanted it to be. I mean, I was in the #1 group with the #1 stars. It was just the private jets, the limousines, the big contracts. It was crazy. It was nuts. The #1 rated show. I mean, it was incredible. Yeah. It was incredible.
And even with the big names, you had Hogan, you had Nash, you had Hall. You found a way to still stick out, still be memorable. What was it like, kind of finding that Buff Bagwell character that really kind of exploded and took off? You know, your hats were always memorable. Just you were out there and energetic. What kind of really found that for you?
It was hard to be different with such a select few unbelievable, characters. I mean, it was, like you said, Hogan, Nash, Hall, I mean, the Giant, Mr. Perfect, Luger, I mean, Stings, Scott Steiner's, all the names just don't stop. I mean, it was just superstars.
Right.
And out of that, you just got to kind of find your niche, but you got to do it without causing a problem.
Sure.
And I found it through, like, the first thing I remember looking at when I watched our show was a bunch of guys out there with the same shirts on.
Yeah.
How can I make myself a little different? So I started with like putting Buff on the back of my shirt, and nobody had their name on the back of their shirt.
Yeah.
I thought, let me do that. That'll be subtle, but won't be a lot of heat.
Right.
So I did that, and then all of a sudden I thought, what about maybe a hat? So I came up with the top hat idea, and my mom came up with the idea of putting my face on the top. And I was like, there's two of us, So it just kind of grew with people that helped out with it, like my mom or my family, and just fans, But you throw something against the wall, and back then, wrestling was so popular, it stuck.
Right.
And if it stuck, we went with it.
Right. That's awesome. And now, some people may not know as much, but before that, you had a long career in WCW already. Several tag teams that you were a part of. You were with the Patriot that I can remember. You were with Too Cold Scorpio. And then maybe your most famous one with Scotty Riggs is the American Males. What was your time like that, kind of going in between tag teams, trying to find that right character then as Marcus Alexander Bagwell?
It's a great question, and the order of events was Scorpio was first, and we were World Tag Team Champions. We were Tag Team of the Year and Rookie of the Year, all in the same year. So that was a big deal for me. That was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And then Scorpio got released, and then after that, I thought, well, God, why would they keep me? So all of a sudden, they came in with the Patriot.
Right.
So me and the Patriot won the belts twice, and we were called Stars and Stripes, man. It was really cool. The USA, the Rookie, it all worked. It all fit. And then Scotty Riggs, being the American Males, was much more Marcus Alexander Bagwell with the earrings and the goatee and the chokers and the tattoos. It was more what I wanted to be, as far as a wrestler goes. And then, when the NWO came in, it was just crazy. But the tag team stuff, I just really just thought a tag team match should be your best match on the card. Yeah. It really should have been. Right. And if I was on the card, it was the best match on the card. I really believe it was, because you got 5 guys having to do the same idea and come through with the same plan to have a good match, and that's 4 dudes wrestling and a referee. Yeah. If you got two managers, that's 7 different people, man. Yeah. So it was just hard to do. So I found a real attraction on making a great tag team match happen, and I was able to do it 5 times with 4 different partners. Right. And by doing that with 5 times with 4 different partners, you find out that none of those partners were alike.
Yeah.
That means I had to adapt.
Yeah.
That means I had to change. Scott, I mean, you know, like Shane Douglas and Too Cold Scorpio are nothing alike.
Right.
I had to adapt.
Yeah.
And that don't mean I'm better than anybody. It means that I had to switch gears to make it all happen, which made me a better wrestler from it. I really enjoyed tag team wrestling.
Yeah. And WCW had a lot of great tag teams during that time. Is there any one or two that kind of stick out that you really enjoyed, or maybe it was a tough match, but you knew they were going to be amazing when y'all?
You know, the Steiner brothers, speak for themselves, Hall of Famers, but you know, but Harlem Heat, man.
Yeah.
Harlem Heat, but you know, look at me and Scorpio and the Nasty Boys had some of the best matches ever.
Right.
So I mean, but you also had Chronic. You know, you had the two Brian Adams and Brian Clarks. You had the two Bryans, two big boys. You know, they were called Chronic, and the tag teams were just all around. I mean, it was just, you know, you had the Blue Bloods.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, the Blue Bloods. It was just, there were always tag team stuff coming up, but no matter how many tag teams there were, at a really young age, I found that the line was shorter in the tag team division than for the world belt. Right. And when I saw that idea, that's what made me go after the world tag team stuff, because I could be just as cool, I could be a champion in this line that wasn't near as long. Yeah. And it made sense to me to go in the shorter line and get the same stardom, and that's what I did.
I like that. And can I just say on a personal note, and don't get me wrong, the NWO, that whole time period of the Monday Night Wars was amazing, but early to mid 90s WCW, I don't think it's enough credit for the amount of amazing talent, the amount of tag teams, wrestlers that were in there. You know, Sting, Flair, Horseman, you know, the Midnight Express, Steiners, LOD, all those different teams that came through. And again, you were also a part of that at a young age. So you've been a part of a lot. We talked before the interview too, and earlier in your career, even before that, you had some ties here to Texas with Global. What was your time there really as a rookie at that point, kind of right at the beginning?
It was a real eye opener for me when I got to Global. I was a really green rookie. My name was the Fabulous Fabian.
Okay.
At North Georgia Wrestling. Joe Pedicino named me and was my boss.
Right.
And we went to Global under the same bosses, but we were Global Wrestling Federation, and Bill Eadie's wife is who thought of the Handsome Stranger. Yeah. So Bill Eadie's who proposed the idea to me, and I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. So, you know, again, when I think back on it, as young as I was, it was a real long period of time. Global was 3 months long.
Wow. That's it.
But it seemed like it was 3 years long.
I can imagine.
But I do the math and I go, wait a second, there's no way. I mean, I graduated high school at 18. I signed with WCW when I was 21. So there's only 3 years there.
Yeah.
You know, with all of that, that's training, North Georgia Fabian, Handsome Stranger, and then getting signed by WCW. There's only 3 years total. So not a lot of time there.
No,
so
that's crazy.
But Global, man, that 3 months was huge.
Right.
I remember walking in the building, the Dallas Sportatorium. I walked in the dressing room, and the heels and the baby faces were in the same dressing room. And I went, wait a second. I go, you mean y'all can talk before you go out there? And they go, yeah. I go, oh my God. I go, I can do this. So, but just that one little thing helped me go from being horrible, was the word, to being pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But it blew my mind that that's all it took was a little communication.
Right.
And by having that, I really learned a lot by how the guys did it, how they would set up matches. The locker room is the most important part of surviving and getting good and getting better. And I was real good in the locker room.
That's excellent. Well, Buff, San Antonio's enjoyed having you for these 2 days. Do you have anything coming up soon, or anything you want to promote while you're here?
I really don't got nothing really major going on. I mean, I'm somewhere every weekend.
Sure.
I don't got one that's coming at me right now. There's a lot of big ones coming up with, you know, New York's coming up in October, and there's a lot of cons. But the best thing to do is to go to MarcusBuffBagwell.com. MarcusBuffBagwell.com takes you to my calendar of what I'm doing. It takes you to all my platforms on social media. So check out MarcusBuffBagwell.com, and you'll see a lot of stuff on there that'll guide you anywhere you want to be check Marcus Bagwell out.
There you go, MarcusBuffBagwell.com. Buff, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you,
Really
man.
enjoyed having you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, man.
And thanks, guys. We are here again at the Rockin' Wrestling at Wonderland of America's Mall. We'll be here for a couple more hours. Come by. If not, you're going to miss the stuff. So there you go. See you later, guys.